Welcome to the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. I'm your co-host, Jen, coming in from Barbados, and I'm here with the lovely
Nicole from France.
and in with us today, I'm so excited to have Jessica Crow. She is my mentor, my meditation teacher, and she's blessing us with her presence today to teach us all about meditation and mindfulness. Jessica has taught meditation, mindfulness, yoga, and massage therapy to individuals and groups in New York City and around the world for over a decade. She's trained and mentored hundreds of teachers and therapists in that time, and is now leading a new generation of guides in the centered meditation teacher training and yoga nidra training. Her new course, Meditations Unravel Old Patterns and Reshape Your Brain, was just released on Daily Om. And that's just the tip of the iceberg because this woman is phenomenal. And Jess, I'm so honored you're here. Nicole and I are excited that you're here. And I'm going to hand it over to you to just introduce yourself to our listeners. Welcome, Jess.
Thank you, Jen. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you for tuning in. I have a lot of faith in Jen and what she puts out in the world. She's one of my best graduates, my most recent graduate from my meditation training. But a little bit about me. So my name is Jessica Crow. I live in New York City. I've been here for about 20 years and integrating myself in the hustle and bustle and the energy of the nonstop cityness of the city. During that time, I have realized a lot of things about myself, as you do as you grow older, but as you have a constant yoga practice and meditation practice as well, right? It's like an ongoing practice of uncovering and discovering things about yourself and your past. So some of the things that I have learned about myself is that I battle anxiety, and I still do to this day. And it's something that may be genetic for me, but I definitely grew up around. So I absorbed it in that environmental aspect as well. I have chronic pain issues that I deal with as well. And I still work on this, but I've done a lot of work towards this one, self-worth and self-confidence issues as well. So these are all things that have come up and become illuminated through my practice of yoga, and especially through my practice of meditation, yoga nidra, and bringing just general mindfulness out into my everyday life, into connections and conversations and decision making and self-reflection. So for me, it's really, really important to be able to share these tools with other people. And my mission is to share them with as many people as possible, because as we know, the world is a really stressful place right now. It's always been, but right now it feels particularly rigid and tense and like it's, something's going to give out at any moment. And I know here in the US, I'm not sure of the numbers overseas. I'm sure it's similar. But here in the US, we are suffering from some of the highest rates of anxiety and depression and even suicide from those mental health conditions that we've ever seen. And we know because there's a ton of scientific research, thankfully, lots and lots of research and more going on as we speak, around meditation and mindfulness and yoga nidra in particular. We know that these things can help heal trauma, can help control anxiety, can help kind of turn the tables on depression and lots of other things that many of us just inadvertently see a doctor or take a pill for, or not even through a medical route, but we numb these aspects of ourselves in so many ways, right? We all have our different ways. We know what they are. We might be shopping, we might use some drugs, we might spend a lot of money, we might hang out with the wrong people. Like there are all kinds of ways that we distract ourselves really from looking inside and doing what we need to do to actually heal ourselves. Like, where is the anxiety coming from? Where is the depression coming from? Why is the body saying, hey, you have pain. Like, where is this pain coming from? Is there an emotional aspect? So it's that looking inside that a lot of people don't want to do. And I get it. I understand that because it is hard work, and it can be painful work. It can be painful
Yeah.
work too. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, pleasure and pain, they kind of tie together. And there is a sense of pleasure and relief and freedom, like personal freedom, when you
Yeah.
work through, or even just bearing witness to these kind of shadow sides of yourself. You can just bear witness and then realize you're still okay. I'm still okay. I'm still human. That's okay. Practice self-compassion. There's something to that is very freeing. And I think that's how we bring ourselves to a personal enlightenment of sorts. We realize
Yeah.
how to make better decisions and how to stay on the path we want to be on, how to make ourselves happy without all of the cover-ups, all of the outside things. So in a roundabout way, I would like, see, I told you I talk forever.
We love your passion. It's so
Yeah,
good.
no. Yeah.
I am really passionate about it because really I have completely transformed in the past about 15 years. Is actually, you said a decade, and I think that is in my old bio. I've been teaching everyone for a decade, but it's been about 15 years because time goes
Mm-hmm.
fast. And in that time, when you're teaching others as well, you're sort of doing a practice at the same time. And Jen, you know that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It is a practice, a spiritual practice to lead others in yoga and meditation. So during those periods, you're still learning. And during that time, I have just healed and grown so much. I have a lot of work to do,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty clear on what it is and the things that I can do about it, which gives me a sense of control that I never had before, right? Sense of like I have control over things. It's when we feel we don't have control over aspects of our life that things get really overwhelming and feel really crazy. And I'm like, forget it. I give up on everything, so
Yeah.
it's realizing that we can place our focus on things we have control over. That's really helpful. And these tools from meditation and mindfulness and yoga in particular have given me that and have given my students and clients that for decades. So it is my mission and my goal to share them with as many people as possible. And that's why I decided to create the Centered Meditation Teacher Training Program. I want to have more excellent teachers that really believe in this stuff as well, that can spread these tools to their community. And the great thing about these tools are like once you teach other people the tools, they have them for life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's not like something they have to practice, they have to do a little bit of self-discipline, and that's why they'll keep coming to you for a while, keep learning. But it's not something that's holding over their head. It's something you can fully
Yeah.
give someone else, right?
Yeah.
And then they can adopt whatever aspects of it work for them and apply it to their life. It's their free choice and free will to do so. But I think that's the beautiful thing about it. Yeah.
I love that aspect of teaching because I'm a yoga and meditation teacher as well. I teach Reiki and practice Reiki and everything. So, but that's like the beautiful part of learning it well enough that you can pass on the knowledge and the wisdom to someone else to help empower them as well. Because the word that you said a while back, but still is just like resonating is relief. And that really is that relief of, because you're not really necessarily getting rid of something. It's not really so much of pushing away and more so of accepting and embracing what is. And there's like a relief in accepting who you are, where you're at in each moment. And, like, not that we can't get better and want to be better, but just that's where a lot of that empowerment comes from. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you can name what it is that's going on with you, it does give you power and control over it. And then you can learn how to navigate it with the tools that Jess is sharing, or even yourself or myself. And then when it comes up again, you can be like, okay, I got this. I know what to
Yeah.
do, you know? And yeah, you might not ever get rid of whatever that thing is, but at least you've got into a place where you can manage it. And that's the important thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. All about managing it. And I'll just add too that that's absolutely right. Right. You start to see that there's a space, the more times you encounter your behavioral patterns, there's that space where you're like, oh, I can put a space between that circumstance or that behavior and my reaction to what, the space, and you can sit with that space, and sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's very short. It's not always perfect. It's not like it just gets better and better. Like sometimes you react and you regret it, but you also know that you've practiced self-acceptance and self-compassion. You know that you're human and that everyone has these imperfect aspects, so you can let it go rather than punishing yourself for reacting the same way to a situation. You're like, okay, I didn't like how I just acted. Let me try to be better next time and let it go rather than like, right?
So I like the emphasis there, because that is such a thing that we do in our society, is the self-punish. We don't let go of our mistakes and we guilt trip ourselves. Some people do it, obviously, and there's people like, I don't know about you guys, but for myself, I do it privately. So I'm like up at night and I'm not sleeping well. I'm like, I shouldn't have said that, or I should have said that, and how dare I do that? And that felt really gross. And then I lose sleep for like a weekend. And then I go, oh, wait a minute. I don't need to do that. That wasn't very nice. Like, yeah, okay, I could have behaved differently, but it's okay. Everything's working out.
The mind it gets addicted to replaying the story. Right. It's almost addicted to the suffering or the pain or the ickiness of it.
Drama.
The drama is the monkey mind addicted to the drama, and it's not ready for change. It's like, no, we've always, beaten ourselves up for this.
Remember those million other times you did that? Remember how horrible you were then? Look at how horrible you are now again. Wait a minute. No, that doesn't feel good.
It's hard for the brain. We do have that negativity bias. So we are going to lock into anything that seems negative much more easily than anything that seems positive. And that's it's one of the hardest things to accept. When you're teaching about the brain and about behavior and how to change behavior through all of these methods, any of these healing methods and wellness methods, it's something that I think we forget a lot when we're leading others too. We forget to remind people of it. We forget to make it important. Because we do have this strong bias. The brain is just made that way to look out for negative things and hyper focus on them because safety. Right?
Yeah.
Safety. So it's this reptilian brain, like really like brainstem, like reactivity kind of stuff. No prefrontal cortex, no reasoning and compassion, empathy. It's just that's where we tend to go. And the majority of people on this earth, even teachers, we don't realize that enough of the time. It's like we block it out because it is like so low down in our brain. It's just a reflexive response. But if we can realize that and start to bring a little conscious nurturing, conscious intention to appreciating positive aspects, appreciating the fact that, oh, I let go of that a little bit faster than last time. And I was like, oh, relax, like, ooh, just like giving it a little more, putting that on a pedestal. So it starts to feel comfortable. It starts to feel more normal to look for things to be, gracious about and appreciative of.
I think that's a really really good point. Sorry, Jen. I think there's a lag today. I was just gonna say, I think you made a really good point that I just wanted to highlight about it being part of our reptilian brain, which, if most of us, I think, have heard of that, but if you haven't heard of it, it's actually, that means it's biological. It's like, in very, very simple terms, we are biologically programmed to look for the negativity, to make sure that from the time that we were hunter-gatherers, if there was a lion in the bushes, we need to be active and reactive, ready for battle or running or whatever we had to do. And even though we're not faced with those literal well, some people maybe are, but most of us aren't literally faced with lions in the bushes. We still have that as a metaphor, you know, we have debt, we have school, we have, you know, like relationship issues, we have, you know, like societal pressure and things like that. Those are our lions in the bushes. So, I mean, like, cut yourself some slack, right?
Yeah.
Like, come on, friends, like, cut yourself some slack when you react. It's not your fault. But you get to move forwards and make choices, like you were saying, just bring that consciousness to it where you can make a choice not to give in and surrender to the drama and to actually be progressive humans, I guess.
Yeah, or just realize that's what's happening. Like,
yeah.
realize that, like, when your mind, instead of feeling bad, like, oh, I'm feeling negative, I'm complaining again, I'm worried, I'm anxious, realize that it's not really you, it's your ancestors. Blame it on your ancestors.
Right? Exactly. And let yourself go, let yourself off the hook so you can move forward.
Right.
Okay, listeners, we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to be back with Jess. Stay tuned. Hi there, I'm Jen, co-host of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. If there's a topic you are passionate about and want to share your views and ideas, then we want to hear from you. Send us an email at elevatedfeminine9@gmail.com. We can hardly wait to have a conversation with you.
Hello, everyone. We're back and we're here talking with today's guest, Jessica Crow, and we are diving into the beauty of all that she offers for everything from yoga and meditation to energy healing. And we're on this journey together talking about what it is to be human and how so many of us, including us teachers who teach how not to be too hard on yourself. We were just at the break just talking about how we would all prefer to learn from a teacher who doesn't have their stuff together all of the time and is human some of the time than somebody who seems to be levitating all the time and is perfectly perfect. So we're gonna go keep flowing with that. So Jess, tell us a little bit more about how you use meditation and your tools with the world that you're changing. Love it.
Of course. Yeah, she's calling me out on what we talked about on break, which was I'm still trying to get
to it
together. I'm constantly trying to get my ish together. But it's different when you are a teacher, an instructor, a guide. You're still going through your own practice. You know, you're still having your own realizations and revelations, and sometimes it's real time as you're teaching and having that relationship with students, you know, so you're still doing it all the time. Nobody is in this, you know, perfectly realized place. Nobody that I know of. So I think as long as you're here on earth, as long as you're human, you're going to keep working through stuff. As my teacher, Sri Dharma Mitra, always says, it gets more subtle. Like layers come off as you do this work. And he just turned 85, I think 85. You know, he's still doing the work. He's still doing his practice every day. And the layers that you shed, it just gets more and more and more subtle, the realizations you have about yourself. So it's always going on. It's always happening. Don't trust teachers and leaders that just, you know, they have everything together and they know exactly what to do all the time. And their life is just light and honey and flowers. It's not.
Even the honey goes bad and the flowers die. So
they do. And light goes out. The light bulb burns, right? Sun turns to moon. So everything is about balance. And we were talking before about one of my missions is to make meditation more accessible, because I know that we are all humans, and having taught thousands of other humans that are going through things, training them to be teachers themselves, or just training them in these techniques at workshops or one-on-one. It's the same things that come up. It's a lot of self-doubt. And a lot of people don't realize that it's self-doubt, or they're not really conscious of them doubting themselves. And that goes back to something we were chatting about on break, I believe, is just self-talk, the way we talk to ourselves. And most of our self-talk, they say like 90% of it, I don't know how they figured that out. The science, 90% of it is the same stuff over and over and over. And I talk about this in my daily course on changing the brain and changing your behavioral patterns. It's the same self-talk. So it's one of the most important, crucial aspects to hit, is to just become mindful enough to notice those patterns of thought. And that's what we do when we sit for meditation. That's what we do when we walk and lie down in meditation. No matter what practice you're doing, you're becoming aware of the present moment. You're becoming aware of what's happening in your mental space. And as you practice over time, this is why it doesn't work once or twice or just occasionally. You might feel better for a moment, but you're not getting real change to come through, because over time you start to witness patterns. That's what we're interested in as teachers of this kind of transformation, is to see our patterns, even if it's hard at first, even if you're like, that sucks. How could I still be thinking that after 25 years?
That's not we dealt with that.
That's not what I want. That's not what I want. And learning to be like, okay, that's just what I have programmed myself, or what, the people around me or society or the conditions have. This is what I have become. This is the loop that set itself in place. And oftentimes that's to protect us from things that we don't want to experience or aren't ready to experience. So we'll have a certain set of thoughts to keep us in a certain place. But the power of meditation is that you can start to look at what radio station your brain is on, right? What podcast is going on up there? What are they talking about?
Ours, obviously.
Like, is there anything quiet? Do they ever shut up? No, but you can start to see, and then pick through, like, I really don't like that. What if that's not even true for me anymore? That's not true for, like, who I see myself being and the direction I'm going and what I want. That's not true for me. So maybe next time I notice it happening, and I'm saying that to myself, and I'm feeling like I am those thoughts, I'm just going to stop it right in the middle. I'm just going to pause it, and so you get, first you notice it and you feel bad about it. And then you notice it and there's a little space and you're like, oh, I just noticed that. And then you notice it halfway through and you can stop it, right? And then it becomes stronger and stronger. You notice it starting, you're like, we're not even going there. We're going with this instead, right?
Nice.
This is my new thought pattern. So it'd be great if that happened that fast. But this is a process of months or years. This is a process of practice and, diligence. And it has to be that you find yourself important enough, or you find your experiences in life, like you want to feel joy, you want to feel relaxation, you want to feel successful, you want to feel that you can give to other people, that you're open-minded, whatever it is that you want to feel more of. It has to be strong enough to be your motivating force. But this is the essence of meditation. So when I talk about spreading these tools, it is through creating more teachers to share the tools. But the way my meditation teacher training is set up, it's interdisciplinary, because I have a pretty varied background. I come from a background of Hatha Raja yoga. I come from a background of dance and being very in my body. I come from a background of behavioral neuroscience. I come from a background of studying Buddhist mindfulness. So there are a lot of things with psychology, sports medicine. Meditation is anything, whatever activity it is, whether it's a visualization, whether it's a physical movement, a way that you're controlling your breath, there are a million different techniques that can be termed meditation or mindfulness practice. And they're spread across all of these different disciplines. So what I like to do is give my students just a variety of all of these, the background, the history, the philosophy, but they also practice them, right? Right, Jen? They practice all these different
Yes.
and in the practice, they reflect on it. They journal about it. They say, like, does that feel good for me? Do I like to just sit and quiet my mind? Or do I like to do a walking meditation? Or can I bring some aspects of this to, like, when I go for my morning jog, or when I'm washing the dishes, or just dancing around with headphones on? Like, is there something I can take from that? Like, am I just geared towards visualization? Am I a really visual person? Can I just lie down on the beach or in the backyard and zone out and visualize like my best life and really feel it running through my body? Is that meditation for me? So there are so many different tools and different ways to combine them that I really believe that there's meditation for everyone, but there's still this concept of, sitting upright with a tall spine with your eyes closed, and it's quiet and you're not allowed to think about anything. There's still this, like, that's what meditation looks like. It's not necessarily wrong. Like, there are practices like that are super valuable, and I've done them. Beautiful introspective practices, self-awareness. But there's also the practice of just changing your breath and letting that change your mood and your thoughts, seeing how that affects your thoughts and your patterns. There's a practice of mindful communication, like really taking that awareness, taking that space that you're working on giving yourself between your self thought pattern, and do that with someone else in conversation. Have you ever tried that? It can be really
It can
hard.
be challenging.
You want to interrupt them, or you want to add something, or you don't want to forget what you're going to say, but instead you're like, no, space, giving them the floor. Like, that's meditation too, because you're remaining in the moment and aware, and you're being aware of your energy affecting someone else. So that may be one of the more important aspects of meditation that we need in this world, actually, is communication, community, society, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, Nicole and I are very big on communication. I think we did 2 podcast episodes on communication.
At least. Just the 2 of us, not to mention how many times it comes up in almost every podcast episode.
It's true. But I mean, and one thing that has always come up in every single one of the podcasts we've done so far is I've always said to Nicole that I find everything comes back to awareness. Everything is about building that awareness and allowing yourself to become aware of what you're doing, the why of it, and all those sorts of things. I mean, just to take the floor for a few moments here, Jess was great at explaining all the different types of meditations that you can, or mindfulness practice you can do. I have an overactive, overthinking brain, and I never ever thought I could sit. I mean, to be fair, I did have to do 30 days of meditation when I was doing my hot yoga teacher training. Well, that did not go well. It really didn't. But I noticed the ones that I did thrive in, which were the ones where I was more physical, moving. And I think I made a concerted effort when I was in Jess's training to pick the ones that I knew I would be most uncomfortable with, to force myself to start doing better with allowing, making myself be still. Because I could have looked for all the ones where I could walk or I could do whatever. I listened to some with music where there's nothing, no guidance. So I really made myself uncomfortable. So I could really start to learn to quieten my mind. I mean, at least control the thoughts or not get engaged with them, because that's the hardest part. Because clearly I'm like that dog in that movie, Up, squirrel, and off I go. Off I go. So that's why I deliberately chose meditations where I didn't have a voice to follow. I had to really focus on my own breath and what have you. I mean, I really threw myself into the fire, if you will, to make sure that I could, what's that? Yes, tapas. I really did, to really force myself to, get more out of it, because I wanted to control how much chatter goes on in my brain. because it distracts me so much. And then the cycles that I've recognized in my behavioral patterns can easily come in. It's all connected. So the minute you have that awareness and you can learn to rewire your brain to fire in a different way, it can really, really be life changing. I do feel so much better after having developed a practice, which I never thought I could. When I got to the part of the training where I'm like, what do you mean we have to meditate for 30 minutes, Jessica? Are you crazy? What, 15 minutes. That's all you're getting from me. But no, 30. And I did it.
Yeah, you did.
I did it. Yes, every day. I still do every day. I have not missed it.
Beautiful. I love hearing that from my student. Graduate. Not student anymore, graduate. One of my teachers. I would add, though, that I like to take out the word control, controlling your thoughts or controlling your patterns, because it gives that sensation of like pushing away or trying to destroy something, when we can just move our attention to what it is we do want to be thinking about or feeling. That stuff usually dissipates anyway. Like that's the easier way. That's how you bring more ease to meditation and self-development, I've found. Otherwise, it's a grasping. And whenever you're pushing away, you're actually grasping, right? So it's, to try to like destroy or control, it creates a lot of tension. And I've seen students do this with their physical yoga practice and with their mental yoga practice or meditation. I've seen them you can kind of see when students are doing that, when they're meditating. I'm sure you'll start to see this if you're doing it when you're just
the stress look with the closed eyes. I will be calm. I will be calm. I'm in my peace. I'm like, no, you're not. It's okay.
Get rid of those thoughts. Get rid of them.
I'm sending them by. One of the analogies I like to use that I've had that really resonated with me, so I use it, is just thinking about your thoughts being passersby. If you're sitting in a cafe and you notice somebody's wearing something that you like, or they have a nice handbag or nice shoes or something, you don't like latch onto them and follow them down the street and like holding it and touching it and talking to them. We notice. We appreciate or don't appreciate. They move on. We might watch for a little bit longer and then they go out of sight and then they're gone. And for me, when I can't even remember how long, it's been ages that I've been using that analogy in my own teaching. But I remember very clearly the instructor who said that. And I was like, light bulb. I'm like, yes.
No, that's a great analogy.
From that moment, it's helped me a lot. Like, because I'm like you, Jen. I'm like, squirrel. Oh, yeah. What's that thought? And then especially with thoughts when I'm left to my own devices, especially when I'm stressed or anxious or depressed, I'm like, that's.
Well, let's talk about that too. Let's talk about like how differently your practice is when you're tired, you've had insomnia, you're anxious about something, anything. Money, relationship, work, health, right?
Who's waking up early the next morning?
Like anything, like when you have less capacity, then literally less capacity to use your prefrontal cortex, like the control center of your brain. And then it's very much like that squirrel with a dog. Squirrel. What's the analogy? You just latch on to everything that goes by. Too much. And usually you're a little more emotional because you don't have the same emotional control over the amygdala, the HPA axis. So like the amygdala is part of the brain that deals with fear and trauma, past traumas. And that could be very subtle to very big things. But when we don't have enough sleep, or we're already feeling jarred in some way, or stressed or anxious, worried, we have less control over the fearful thoughts. We have less control over that negativity bias. So that is something that we have to really be aware of too, and give ourselves a little grace. I think a lot of this comes back to practicing self-compassion.
Right.
I talk about a lot, and I teach a series on that. As Jen knows, I teach an alternating class series. I have maybe like 6, 7, 8 different topics, and I teach them for 6 weeks on Insight Timer. And my teacher trainees come to those as well. And the one on compassion, self-compassion and gratitude is the lowest attended out of any other topic. And I think
Wow.
it seems like
Wow.
or it seems
Yeah,
boring
kind of.
for people. Or it
Yeah.
seems like, what does it seem like? I don't know, but it's not that. I'm telling you, it's not that. It's one of like the heaviest weighted practices you can do for yourself because it keeps all the other stuff in control. Like if you have that, you know how to be, then you can witness like your ADHD patterns. You can witness like whatever's going on with you. Like you broke your leg, like I don't know, whatever's going on with you, you can witness it and give yourself a dose of compassion, and you don't fly off on those mental tangents. So I do think it's like that. It's that thing that just kind of grounds in.
Yeah, the self-mastery.
Everything. Yeah.
Self-mastery. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into some of Jess's offerings and maybe a little tool that we can use. We'll be back after a quick break.
Hi there, I'm Jen, co-host of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. If there's a topic you are passionate about and want to share your views and ideas, then we want to hear from you. Send us an email at elevatedfeminine9@gmail.com. We can hardly wait to have a conversation with you.
All right, friends, welcome back. We are here wrapping up with Jessica Crow. She's here talking to us today about mindfulness and meditation and mastering. It's kind of our conversations really come to self-mastery and just learning how to be our own human, actually, is all what I could like. How can we be our own human and just be us, just be me? It's okay, me, perfectly imperfect. How can I just be me and be good and okay with that? And you offer some really great tools that really just help people embrace that, hey, we're human. We have this biological tendency towards favoring drama, and how can we not let it take over and run rampant through our lives? So we'd love to hear about some tools or a little bit more about how you teach and what you offer to help people learn how to do that.
Sure. Yeah, I'm thinking when you were saying that, it's really all about self-knowledge, building self-knowledge, which sounds like a big fancy term. But what it is just who am I without the influence of the other people around me and the environment and the culture around me? Who am I independently as this human, this spirit, this incarnation? Who am I? What do I like? What do I want? That can change all the time. So it's like a constant reflection of finding that. And that's what we get through a meditation practice, one that you resonate with. So yeah, I was talking a little bit earlier about the centered meditation teacher training, which is it's over 100 hours now. I have to recalculate because we're adding in a trauma-informed module. I'm so excited about this, guys. So excited about the trauma-informed module. I've looked it over and it is deep and it was beautiful and it is necessary. So this training is going to be probably about 120 hours. We are relaunching with two different paths. One is just a personal study path, like a self-study path. So that is for people that would normally take a teacher training with no intention of teaching. They just want to go deeper into the subject and find a practice that helps them heal themselves, which is the way that I came to yoga. My very first yoga teacher training, I had no intention of teaching ever. I just was having like physical symptoms and illnesses and anxiety and all the stress. I was like, I need tools for stress. I'm going to go jump into that. So what I've done is split this into two different paths. So people that want to be there for personal exploration will be saved all of the teaching ethics and teaching practices. But if they change their mind, they can always come in and make up those components as well. And then we have the teaching path where they get certified at about 120 hours as a meditation teacher. It will prepare them to teach mindfulness, meditation, breath work, visualization, all of the combination of those. It will prepare them to find their own voice within this business of meditation. And I give them one-on-one mentorship to kind of hone in on their niche and what they want to do. Like, what do they want to present? Who's the community they want to affect? Like, who are they in this world of meditation? So we work on that whole business aspect together as well. I also have a yoga nidra training. If you're not familiar with yoga nidra, if you've never practiced yoga nidra, conscious sleep, or what is it, non-sleep, deep rest. I think it's very, very similar. They're calling it that. It's just a more scientific one, right?
Yep.
I have several variations. I want to say 4 to 6 on Insight Timer. So you can go to my Insight Timer profile. It's just under Jessica Crow with picture of me. And I have lots of audio tracks there. Practice the Yoga Nidra. It's a phenomenal transformative practice.
That's a
and
good
all you have to
practice.
do is lie there. So you don't have to sit up and do any particular thing. You just lie there and listen to me and follow along. So it's a really wonderful practice to try. I have a nice deep immersion into that. It's about 30 hours and it's completely on demand as well. So those are my two main offerings and what I'm trying to get out in the world. I do teach on Insight Timer, so I have my audio tracks. I also teach almost every Sunday morning is when I teach those rotating class series. Right now we're in physical healing and rejuvenation, which is booming on our first session. So I guess people need that. They need some physical healing rejuvenation. So you can visit there. But I'm very passionate about finding people their meditation. Like, what's your meditation? It doesn't have to look a particular way. So let's experiment. Let's have fun with it. Let's be creative and find the tools. I really get excited when my students find particular techniques and practices within the training that they're like, I resonate with this one, and this one. They go perfect together. Like, this is the thing. This is what I feel confident showing others. And this is what really does it for me. Because then I know they're in that understanding of it doesn't have to look a certain way. Like, whatever you can practice yourself and feel a change from, that's the best thing to teach others. Right? That's the best. When you have had the experience of it doing something for you, that's when you go teach others. And that's what you teach others. You can teach the other things too. You can teach things you don't even understand that well. You can teach things that you didn't like, but you can. I've done it in the past. I've taught a lot of things. Doesn't come across the same way. Doesn't feel authentic, and they don't pick it up the same way. And guess what? As a leader, a teacher, a guide, it's not as fun for you either, because the impact, like, it's just not as organic and animated. So yeah, I get very excited when they find particular tools they resonate with in these courses, whether they're becoming a teacher or they're just finding their own unique practice from what I'm offering them. And they go away with that. And like Jenn, they're like, hey, I never thought this could happen, but I practice every day now. That lights me up. That's what keeps me going. Yeah, that's what keeps me going.
So good.
Yeah, and I'm really grateful to have found you. I mean, it was quite random too, actually. I think I was on Facebook and I saw an ad for your meditation. There she is. Hello, Bijou. Welcome to the fold. Our executive producer, listeners, has popped in. Bijou's here. It was an ad that popped up on Facebook, and I clicked on it. And that's how I found you. It's so incredibly random.
And it does work.
I have been looking for a teacher meditation training. And yeah, I didn't go on Facebook to look for anything. I was just on Facebook and I was just scrolling and boom, I was like, oh, what's this? Oh, she looks nice. And then I went to her Instagram and I was like, oh, she knows someone that I know. Then she must be really cool because they're cool. And that's how it, and I sent a message, and I think one of the links on your thing was broken, and I emailed you to tell you, hey, I tried to do this, but it's broken. I just wanted to let you know so you could check it out. And bada boom, bada bang, next thing you know, I'm enrolled in her teacher training. and it's a wonderful teacher training, really and truly. I mean, it's very comprehensive. You learn so much. And I mean, Jess is a really giving teacher and extremely patient and very, very knowledgeable. And if you are, I mean, interested in learning to meditate and to use these tools to help heal yourself or bring some calm, or maybe even not even for yourself, but to share with someone else, I would definitely encourage you to check it out. Really, it's a great, think of it as an investment in yourself and your overall well-being, mental health, rather than, you know, anything else. It's an investment in you to help you be better than a better human, since we're trying to be better humans, you know. And when we are feeling better about ourselves and in our own bodies, then we can be so much more of service to others. So I recommend it highly.
I love that. And you know, like the nice thing is that you can find Jess on Insight Timer. So go get a little taster of Jess and follow her
when
there.
Is your next class? When is your next class? Sorry, Nick.
Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. That's my class schedule. 6 weeks at a time, and then I break for 1 week, and we start a new series with a new theme. But I also have, I don't know how many tracks, audio tracks I have there, 30 or 40, all different types.
A lot.
Just breathing, guided visualization, short, long. I even have a poem.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have a poem on there. Yeah, I'm actually, this was side note, but I'm releasing a book of poetry in a couple of weeks. It's all the poetry I've written in the first half of my life.
Okay, nice. Nice. And also, you said you're on Daily Om.
I have a course on Daily Om. Yes.
Right. Okay.
I'm spacing on the entire name because it's a very long name. You can find that on my website.
We'll post the link to your website and people can find you there.
Yeah.
The name of it is Meditations to Unravel Old Patterns and Reshape Your Brain. That is the course on Daily Om.
Exactly.
Yeah, reshape your brain. There you go.
Exactly. But if you want to go deeper, just dive in. Just commit to the 6-month training that starts in September, because that's the real way to just keep going into it with support and community around.
Which is so important when you're doing this kind of work.
Yeah. And if you want to keep up with me and, you know, like get little tidbits of practices and insights and keep up to date on like new programs and things that are popping up, my Instagram is the best place for that. It's Centered Meditation, which is CNTRD meditation. So I'm sure they'll include the handle for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, we'll put all of this information in our description. So anything, if you could name one thing, or maybe 2 or 3, you decide how many, one takeaway for our listeners that they could do right now or any given moment at the supermarket, stuck in traffic, on the train, on a plane, that they could do to bring themselves like a little snippet of calm and maybe centeredness and focus.
Yes. Close your eyes if that's appropriate for wherever you physically are.
We're actually going to do it. We're actually going to do it.
Okay. I'm doing it.
Are we doing it? Okay.
Yeah, we're doing it.
Close your eyes. And this seems really wild. It seems too easy, too good to be true. But really, it's all about your breath, coming back to this present moment. Just bring all of your attention to your breath right now. The breath coming in through the nose, going down through the throat, the chest, maybe the belly. And the breath coming back up and out naturally. And you can slow it down a little bit, make it a little more slow than your natural breath. And you should feel already a softening, a centering. And while you're in this state, it only takes moments for your nervous system to kind of switch over to calm. You can do this anywhere. While you're in this state, tell yourself something new. So implant a new little mantra, a little affirmation in your mind, a little chatter. Say, I love you. You are doing great. You can use your name. I love you, Jessica. You're doing awesome. That's it. And whether you feel resistance to that, if it feels funny, that's fine. It will start to feel more normal as you do it more often. Open up your eyes. Another beautiful way to practice that just I love you mantra, giving yourself that self-love, which is a form of compassion, is to do the mirror work. If you're familiar with, yeah. Louise Hay has a whole book on it. I did that last year. And yeah, look in your own eyes and tell yourself these things every day. That's all you need to do, really. Reconnect, because you'll be hitting some old patterns. Things will come up. And that's where it'll be nice to have some of those practices, the calming practices and reflective practices that you learn in meditation training, because when those things come up, we don't want to just bury them again, right? We're here on this journey of evolution as a human. So we're here to grow and explore and evolve and hopefully get better, be better, impact people more positively. So when painful, negative things come up, let's just try to be aware of that and not be hard on ourselves, and see how often we can start letting them go, replacing them with that self-love.
Love that.
Nice.
Thank you so much.
Yes, no, that was a great little practice too. And it's almost like instant. And we all love and want instant gratification, right? So
and it's right there all the time, right? Just
exactly.
It's already happening.
Exactly. Okay. Well, listeners, we've come to the end. I can't believe it's the end already. Jess, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time out of your day and your schedule to be here with us and to share with us. It's been a great conversation, incredibly grateful and thankful for you. And to our listeners, I hope you enjoyed and found this insightful, and that your appetite and your curiosity has been piqued, and you'll dive right into daily the meditation training, and of course on Insight Timer, and follow Jess. She is phenomenal. And Nick, coming in from France. Are you going to check out the Olympics?
No, oh no. I'm going to stay put and let that chaos unfold on its own.
Okay. So we're going to thank you so much for being here and for joining us on another exciting episode of the Elevated Feminine podcast, where real women have real conversations. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care.